Hello everyone, this is a video of me walking down the main street of Aberdeen City that I grew up in. It's just going to be me having a little chat, talking about kind of like just some things that come to my head, and as I'm going along, what's happening up above in the video is a recording of the Aberdeen City Christmas lights that go up every year. Usually when they go up there's a parade. But this year, due to COVID, there wasn't any parade or anything like that. So yeah, the parades usually were kind of like, so as I'm going along the street here, there would be massive floats coming down the middle of the street, and each float would represent something of their choosing, either like a Christmas holiday themed float with a story behind it, and then there would be people inside of them dressed up, either reenacting the story or just sort of like dancing, or just sort of like doing whatever their creator decided. And there would usually also be people walking besides the floats as well, collecting with like money buckets, collecting money for charity. So I always used to find it fun getting like a load of pennies and that sort of stuff and putting it in the buckets, and that sort of stuff when I was growing up. So yeah, this year things are a little bit different for me. I'm out of my parents' house, so like I'm just sort of like, I've got myself to entertain, but I also know that I'll be having kind of like dinner and Christmas Day with my parents as well. We're gonna be as close as a family as we can. Unfortunately, my sisters are down in the south of Scotland, and we're in the north of Scotland, so we can't really get to each other, or else we would have gone down to where my sisters are resided, and we would have celebrated. However, due to COVID, this we can't really do that. And that's okay, because it just is the way of the world. Like, I know 2020 hasn't been easy for us, as a people. Everyone around the world has sort of kind of like suffered in their own way, shape, or form, or they've just had to deal with things a little bit differently. I'm used to dealing with things differently all the time. I feel like I am a bit of an adapter and a survivor that way. So when this did happen, I kind of felt like it was a bit of a blessing in disguise for me, because as horrible as it was and how much it's changed, it also helped me to stop, evaluate, and kind of like think, and just have my time that I needed to take to relax and be to myself, because I wasn't always making the right calls for myself. As like a young teenager, I didn't have the most relaxing kind of like time for growing up, and so I fell into a path that isn't something that I would endorse for everyone, and it got me into a lot of trouble. So like mostly personal trouble, rather than like getting like anything really, really bad happening. It was just sort of like a breakdown in communication, and it didn't really help any of my relationships whatsoever. And then when 2020 happened, things were I kind of like was in a position where so much stuff had happened, and I had been trying to be better for a long time, and it kind of like being away from the retail work that I was in, and having that physical stoppers from going outside made things easier to understand and process, and giving me time just to refrain from overthinking. And then about a couple 2-3 months ago, I think it was about 3 months ago, since I'm from this recording, I started taking a medication to reduce anxiety and depression. So now I am feeling like what I'm doing right now is proper good for me, like, and I'm enjoying it, and I want to keep on going with that. So less of the heavier stuff, I suppose. Right now I'm reading. I'm going back to trying to get back into reading, because I noticed that a big thing that I started doing for a while was neglecting the things that I used to enjoy, and I definitely used to enjoy reading before it all happened. And so what I'm reading just now is Percy Jackson and the Greek Gods. The reason why I like reading Percy Jackson is because it's the writing style is designed to help people with like things like ADHD and dyslexia, and I have dyslexia, to read the book. It's in a bit of a bigger font and a more understandable font as well, which makes things a lot easier. And the way that it's written, it's not complex, it's very straight to the point, and well, not even straight to the point, it's just very down to earth and grounded in how it's written. And the character Percy Jackson itself, I've read I've read the entire Percy Jackson series, and I've also read the entire series after it. The one with the seven. It's the name's totally gone out of my head, and I'll find it out. But there's there actually might be a index in here of the book in my hand of them after. Let's have a little look. Ah, yes, that's it. That's the one. So, Heroes of Olympus. So I've read the entire Heroes of Olympus series as well. So yeah, like, I grew up reading them in academy, and they taught me a lot. And I think my favorite Greek myth is the one between Arachne and Athena. Arachne was the first creation, the story of how the creation of spiders came into mythology. I say mythology, but like I interpret Greek mythology per se to be religious in its teachings, and I myself am pagan, so basically one of the reasons why I'm pagan is because in paganism it's natural to gravitate and praise the gods, the deities, the entities in which you find resonate with you. You can praise them if you find influence in something or someone, usually a deity or whatever. Then that has just as much valid influence in the pagan as a religion itself. And sorry, I got distracted. Yeah, the gods that came to me first were like influentially was the pagan gods, and they taught me a lot. So much so that like I actually have a tattoo of a spider, and for me it just sort of it reminds me of the time that I read the story between Arachne and Athena, and I felt like this deep sort of feeling and reverence. My apologies for the cut out there. I just had a little call. As I was saying about what was I saying? I was talking about the Greek gods and taking influence from different deities and how that correlates into paganism. Yeah, basically, I am pagan and I praise the Greek gods, as well as taking influence from other deities such as like Satan and God. I used to be part of the church. I didn't really agree with all the church ethics and values. But that's okay. Because I also don't agree with all of Satan's as well, but you know, like there is a balance, and I think that's the beautiful thing about the Greek gods is that they do make a lot of these mistakes that can be classified as sins, but at the same time they're not punished in the same way that they are in places like Christianity, or even praised in the same way as they are in Satanism. There's definitely a fine balance, and the best thing about the mythology is it is just stories and talking, and it's up to you to take the responsibility to learn the moral behind it. And you know, I love philosophy, and I think it is a really good place to start learning about philosophy and psychology as well, because philosophy and psychology were kind of like the ancient Greeks thing, I suppose, and also they invented the bedrock of democracy as well. So, you know, ancient Greeks, very smart people. So yeah, the video is coming to a close now as well. It's just starting to wrap up, so that's just sort of like me being rambling. And yeah, no, I hope you enjoyed what I've had to say, and I'll catch up with you at some point later. And I hope you have a good evening or afternoon or whatever, and hope you enjoyed. And yeah, thanks. Goodbye.